So the title of this video is What I Learned and Unlearned After Watching Mulan 2020. You may ask, is this relevant to my life? I can say yes. Actually, you don't need to watch Mulan 2020 before watching this video, because I just use this movie as a typical example of how the media forms perceptions in people's minds. Some of them are useful and some of them are bullshit. Okay, let's dive right in. Firstly, I preview a little bit of background just in case you don't know. The 1998 animation version of Mulan was pretty successful when the big American movie company Disney came to China's market. More than 20 years later, Disney decided to make the live-action version of Mulan, in which the famous Chinese actress Liu Yifei played the main characters. I'm going to review some contents of the movie. A long time ago, China was in danger due to the invasion of Rurals. The Emperor of China then ordered every family to contribute one man to fight against the Rurals. Emperor soldiers arrived in Mulan village to enlist recruits, and her elderly and sick father, Hua Yu, was forced to pledge his service as he had no sons. Realizing that her father has no chance of survival, Mulan fled with his armor, horse, and sword to join in his place. In this video, I'm going to discuss 3 values that Mulan was taught in the army, which are
loyal, brave, and true.
Mulan herself was also confused many times by those values. And I also talk about the feminism message that the movie tried to convey, so please stay tuned till the end. Let's talk about true first. Mulan hid her true identity of a woman for a long time while serving the army. She told a lie to save her father, and that's the only choice she could make at that time. So even though she was dishonest, what she did was necessary and useful in that case. The society at that time believed only men could save the country. Women were only responsible to get married and bear children. But Mulan proved the opposite thing. She was a heroic figure of China, which is an empowering message for girls and women. From this instant, I can ask myself, to what extent should I be true? Do I need to be always true, following social standards? To answer this question, I want to discuss the illusion and the truth. Because human society likes to conceptualize reality, we don't usually see reality as it is. We conceptualize reality with notions, perceptions, prejudice, judgment, and things like that. They are mostly our imagination or our illusions that distort reality. And the belief that only men can win the war and can fight to bring freedoms to the country is a typical example of an illusion. Similarly, social standards may usually be formed up by lots of illusions, so they are not the truth even though many people believe in them. We need to be very careful to believe in any doctrine or philosophy. I think we should frequently challenge the status quo. We should not believe in anything we are told without questioning and experiencing it in our own life, including what I'm sharing here. Then how can we find the truth? The way out is in. We need to look deeply within ourselves. And this is the good part of the movie when it tries to convince us to reflect our true self within. The theme song Reflection by Christina Aguilera did a good job to convey this message.
I am now in a world where I have to hide my heart and what I believe in, but somehow I will show the world what's inside my heart and be loved for who I am.
We live in a world that is so familiar with looking outside to find the kind of happiness that we're craving for. But what if those kinds of happiness are only illusions created by our own minds? What if true happiness is not built by money, social status, or fame? I practiced to look deeply and I could find the answer within myself. And I can say, no, that's not the kind of happiness I should pursue. I hope you can give yourself a try to look deeply within to realize the true happiness that you deserve. And I'm going to talk about other values based on the illusion and the truth. Next value that Mulan was taught a lawyer. And what I could see from the movie is she chose to be loyal to her emperor, no matter what he did.
I know my place. And it is my duty to fight for the kingdom and protect the emperor.
And this sounds bullsh and implies some kind of propaganda. Let me debunk this kind of delusive loyalty that Mulan 2020 expressed. We cannot place our loyalty on those people or things that are not stable. Look at this picture of the 3-year-old me. Can you tell I haven't changed since then? Physically, I've changed a lot in my appearance. Mentally, I changed significantly in the way I perceive life, think, and act. So how can you have faith in an impermanent thing like a person? Similarly, how can you have faith in an emperor no matter what he does? There are some illusions in the emperor policy. Firstly, he believed ordering a man from each family to serve the army can bring peace to his country, without thinking about families who had no son. This caused tremendous suffering from families like Mulan's families. Secondly, he believed war could bring freedom, but I need to argue that is that the real freedom? How many soldiers need to die to bring freedom? In Mulan 2009 version by a Chinese movie film, Mulan, who was played by Vicky Zhao, was showing her emotional weak due to the harsh battle, seeing loss of death and losing friends. Mulan 2009 fought so no one had to die anymore, not fighting because of obeying the emperor like what Mulan 2020 did. Mulan 2020 couldn't convey the meaningless of war, instead somehow supported the war and had a blind loyalty to the emperor. One of the Mulan theme songs also challenges this belief.
War is not freedom. Over my shoulder I see a clearer view.
But oppositely, Mulan's in the 2020 movie expressed a different thing, which made me so confused. Reality changes all the time. I think I need to keep my heart open enough to be ready to remove old and unsuitable notions in order to see the truth. Just like climbing the ladders, if you don't dare to leave the old ladder, you can't move to the next ladder. If I choose to be loyal to an old-fashioned and unsuitable doctrine, how can I see the truth? So what is real loyalty? For me, it's the loyalty that is based on things that are more stable and solid. I learned the Buddha's teaching for a few years and I know that everybody has a Buddha inside. The Buddha here means wisdom or insight that reflects the ultimate truth. The truth that goes over any forms and touches deeply the nature of myself and the world. And I choose to be loyal to that Buddha inside me. That's the way I figured out the true loyalty. You also have that Buddha inside yourself, and you can choose to take refuge in that Buddha as well. That Buddha can help you to see the ultimate truth. What if the true world is one big village without boundaries of countries? What if we all have the same origin? What if all humans on earth are our families? The answer can only be found within. Next, the third value is brave. Being brave, according to Mulan 2020, is to win the war, which is bullsh to me. Somebody says, how can we create war? Fight an enemy, and where there is no enemy, they create one. I couldn't find the authors of this quote, but I find it so true. The enemy outside is only the product of our imagination, and by fighting against that imaginative enemy, we created a lot of tragedies. The Vietnam War is a typical example of this point. But if the educational and political system brainwashed our minds, we couldn't agree with this point. However, no matter what kind of brainwashing they did, for me, I know the real courage is only felt when I look within myself and admit there are devils inside myself as well. Actually, Mulan 2020 also gave a good point.
There is no courage without fear.
And we need to be courageous enough to face our fear of confronting our devils within. Those devils can be ignorance, craving, or anger. But I don't treat them as my enemies either. I just observe them whenever they stop by. Then I calm my mind and preserve my sanity. Then I realize they are just illusions. Then I don't serve them tea and just let them go. Because I can't conquer anger by anger. I can only conquer anger by understanding and love, which leads me to the next point. Real Feminism. Mulan 2020 wanted to empower girls and women, but somehow failed to do so. Let's look at the way Mulan 2020 proved her feminism, which is too controversial. She just simply did the muscular things or the man things better than men because she had innate talent. She is a superhero. By doing so, she conveyed the message that gender equality is about proving that women can do the man things to fit with the patriarchal society. Also, she gave the impression that only the most talented girls who were blessed by God can prove their feminism. Those girls who are like her unnecessary sister character eventually got married.
I am matched.
I need to argue that do women need to do the men's things to prove feminism? In the 1998 animated version, Mulan empowered girls by her intelligence and even some feminine qualities to solve the problems, and she was the only one who could do that. Besides, she grew up alongside with her male fellows. She empowered girls that girls can keep up with men in doing muscular training. Feminism for me is not about comparing women to men, but just embracing who we truly are. There are male qualities in women, and there's female qualities in men as well. And that's normal. That's what makes us truly human. But our society only appreciates qualities that are labeled for men, such as muscular strength, or winning wars by violence, or being successful in terms of materialism. And we don't appreciate and even try to dispose of those qualities which are traditionally labeled for women, such as tender, a poetic soul, being emotional, being insecure, or being vulnerable. But like what Mulan 2020 said, there's no courage without fear. I can say there's no power without vulnerability. There's no confidence without insecurity. There's no good without evil. There's no lotus without mud. They are just two sides of reality. Only confronting our innermost vulnerability can we find our true power. So I think it's time to remove boundaries between what makes a man and what makes a woman. In addition, the poem called The Ballad of Mulan, which was the oldest known version of Mulan's story, also conveyed a profound feminist message, which makes more sense to me compared to the 2020 versions. The poem said, "Most people tell the gender of a rabbit by its movement. The male runs weakly, while the female often keeps her eyes shut. But when the two rabbits run side by side, can you really discern whether I am a he or a she? Men and women may look different, but when living amongst each other, when striving beside each other, what difference do the gender differences make? We are just simply interconnected in this life, and we are here to help each other to live as the best version of ourselves. We can only live together in true peace and in true love if we remove our discrimination and separateness. And for me, that's when we find true feminism.
"在战场上死去，生命像雨水落入大地，毫无痕迹。如果那时候你爱上了一个人，希望会从泥土中重新绽放，热烈地拥抱生命。"
I hope each of us will take some time to reflect and to see the truth within ourselves. Thank you for watching. We will see you soon.